Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Man's Noble Beer Reviews. Today I have another beer from Burial Brewing Company out of Asheville, North Carolina. This is a variant of their Skillet Coffee Donut Imperial Stout. This one's called Skillet Stacks. So it just says Donut Stout with maple, cinnamon, vanilla, and sea salt. And it is 8.0 ABV. I've never had this. I've had the regular Skillet, but I've never had this variant before. I honestly don't know if they've even done it before, if this is something new from this year, but crack it open and see what we got. A lot of times you don't see all that kind of stuff added to, this it isn't that big of a stout. It's only 8%. It's not like super thick or anything. But that's one of the main reasons why I love this base beer so much, is it's just like a really good, easy drinking coffee stout. So I'm hoping the other things don't overwhelm that. We'll see. So it pours out really dark brown with a nice finger's worth of beige head. Whew, man. So usually anytime cinnamon is in something, it is a predominant flavor, or aroma or flavor, really. But I'm not getting much cinnamon at all. It's almost like 100% maple and coffee. I think I lied. Now that I go deeper, I got a little bit of cinnamon and vanilla, but it's still mainly maple and coffee. But it does smell like coffee and coffee and maple donuts, which I would expect for this beer. But that's why I love that beer, the donut stout, so much, because it literally tastes like coffee and donuts. That's really good. A lot of times putting like several things like this in a stout that isn't like super thick, or not even necessarily super thick, but super strong in alcohol, sometimes it like completely overwhelms it and it just doesn't work. But in this, I feel like there's only just enough maple. Like I said, the cinnamon and the vanilla are pretty muted. The sea salt's probably just working to cut everything a little bit to make it drier. There's like just enough maple to complement the coffee, but it's not becoming overwhelming. But I mean, compared to any other breakfast maple stout, I would say this is a really good version. It's not comparable to like Morning Delight or something like that, because that's such a huge beer. But for a variant on this base beer, if you've ever had this base beer, I think this is good. Excuse me. I don't know. I'm just trying to think on my scale of buy, drink, dump if I would buy this again. I would buy this again, so I'm gonna give it a buy. But if I'm just gonna compare this to the base beer, I would probably say the base beer. I would probably rather drink the base beer. And I know I'm probably being the minority in this, but I just like that simple recipe so much that I think any other additions to it maybe not be taken away from it, but it doesn't necessarily make it better. It's just different. Because I love, excuse me, the regular Skillet. Is probably my favorite coffee beer ever. my favorite non-barrel aged coffee stout, I should say. And adding the maple, I like that it gives it another component. But the reason I like Skillet so much is because it is kind of simple yet really tasty at the same time. This is kind of like um, just overdoing it, if that makes sense. I still really like it, and I would probably buy this again on occasion. So I'm still gonna give it a buy. But as far as comparing it to the regular one, I probably like the regular one better. Um, and this year the seasoned skillet is what they call it, is the barrel aged version. And I think they usually bottle it. This year they canned it, but it's usually like just a stronger version of this, or like, so I think the beer's the same. It's just this is barrel aged and ends up being stronger because of the wet barrels. But the can version this year is 14%, so there's no way that it's the same beer as this. Um, they definitely made like a scaled up version of this and then barrel aged it. I guess Griddle is a scaled up version of this to begin with, is 10%, but even going from 10 to 14 is like a lot. I feel like they made like a pretty big version of this and then barrel aged it, so I'm guessing it's a completely different beer. But that beer, whatever that is, if that had this treatment, I feel like that would probably handle it a little bit better than this 8% version. But for what it is, I think this is very good. Especially like that barrel aged can that I was talking about was $10, and if it was that plus a bunch of other stuff, it would probably be even more than that. This was $5.50 a can. So at $5.50, I think this is definitely worth it. It's very good. Um, and yeah, I would definitely drink this again. So I'm gonna give this a buy, or I would definitely buy this again. So I'm gonna give it a buy. But I think that's all I got on this one. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think, and I look forward to doing the next one. Thanks.